Welcome to the Life Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson. A couple of clean comedians here to support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. They'll talk about highs and lows and some traumatizing shows. So get ready, get set, let's go! Welcome to the Life Support Podcast, brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network. I'm your host, June Colson, here with my giggling co-host, Michele with one L VanDusen. Once I discovered that you can peek during the intro, it's over. It's over. That's so fun. Isn't that fun? Oh, grow up, Michele. Oh, grow up.
It's Oh,
first of all, I mean, what a day. It is a Monday. We are trying to record this podcast on a Monday, and maybe that's what the problem is.
it's raining here. It's a rainy day, Monday. Yeah.
We're supposed to have some rain. Yeah. We're supposed to have some storms a little bit later, but let me show you what I did. I said, let me go run and grab my cough drops real quick because I don't know. I've had an asthmatic cough for 47 years now.
So what do you got?
And I go and I grab my cough drops.
Is it Oreos?
Grab the bag, the blue bag. Do you see what I grabbed, Michele?
That is totally dog treats.
The dog treats are in the same drawer with the cough drops. Okay, let me put them side by side. Do you see the back of them? I mean, when you're in a hurry and you reach and grab it, I was like, oh man, I came running in here with the canine carryouts, beef and cheese, when I was trying to grab my Hall's Relief. So I may or may not have dog breath. It's like really after the second dog treat, I should have known that it wasn't a cough drop.
Quiet moment with June Colson.
Yeah, I can't compete with Rhonda Corey and Chewy's little hemp chews. But I don't know. Maybe if I had hemp chews, I might be feeling really good today.
I have my hemp patch on, so it's all good.
Ooh. This is true. Are you feeling it? Are you feeling any kind of, joy from your hemp patch?
Less pain, and I think I'm a little more calm. I don't know.
Yeah.
My husband might say otherwise.
But you might not know. The first time I had I didn't have hemp or anything like that, but I had LASIK eye surgery. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like that's the craziest stuff ever. It was like, I don't know, you're wide awake and they put these drops in your eyes and they basically come straight at your eyeball with a scalpel and they slice and then you can't see. It's the craziest thing, but they give you Valium before you go, right? Like the day before. Actually, they give you several to take so many hours before. And then when you get there and I remember, so my husband, I was like, I'm not feeling any effect at all from this. Like I'm still like so anxious, but they put everybody in a holding. They put everybody in a holding cell, like, cause they do one person after the next. It's the craziest thing. And so they put all these people in the same room who basically have been prepped all the same. Right. And I remember like looking at this lady across from me and I was like, you're so pretty. You're just really pretty. And the guy beside me is like, you both are beautiful. And then I was like, I'm not feeling this stuff. Are you feeling it? And he's like, I didn't feel nothing.
Were you looking at a mirror?
Yeah, I might have been. Look at that blonde.
That's where I thought you were going with this. I was looking at this lady across from me. You're so beautiful. I love you.
I think you just wrote a bit for me. Oh my gosh, Michele, I'm going to write it down in my notebook that I will lose within like 2 weeks. Like I put all the genius ideas and then the notebook disappears and then I start
You won't
over again.
lose it because it's on this podcast.
This is true. But then I'll forget. I'll be like, what episode was that? And I'll have to go back and listen to every episode we've ever recorded.
Well, it'll be with Leslie Robb because she happens to be our guest today.
She is our guest today. Oh my goodness. Michele, I am so excited. I can't even tell you how much I love Leslie Robb. So tell us a little bit about our guest who's coming in today.
Okay, so Leslie has been a teacher. She's authored some kind of book. She's illustrated a children's book. She's lived and she's worked abroad and traveled abroad. She did this fitness program. She's got like this child's party business, and then she's got so much stuff. Like I can't even tell you everything that this woman has done in her short 20 years of life. I think she's 20. I don't know. She looks young enough to be 20. I'm not positive. So, and then that's just like in part of it, right? So like her career in entertainment, right? So she's got like her role as a Christian comedian. She's an actress. She talk show host. She's a motivational speaker. Check this out. So recently, she just voiced a cartoon.
No.
Yes, she's a voice
I've always
actress
wanted to do that. Oh, that's so cool.
Benny the Barnacle, and it's not coming out, I think, until like 2022 or something like that. We can ask her when she's on here.
Can't wait to
but
find out
I'm
about
just
this.
telling you, she's energetic. Her personality and everything that she does just like exudes joy and happiness.
Yes.
So you know what? I'm done talking about her. Let's talk to her. Let's welcome to the show, Leslie Robb.
Woo! Hey, ladies.
Leslie Robb. Oh my gosh, we should do like a 2-hour program just to get through all of your accomplishments and all the amazing things that you've done. I got to start. Like, I want to. We'll get into our normal questions, but what a cartoon! Tell me about this.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if you're familiar with the Creative Motion Network on Roku. Their creators, the Creative Motion Network creators, Kristen Collier and Kevin Collier, have recently put into production Benny the Barnacle, which is a faith-based cartoon. And I get to be the voiceover in one of the characters as a sea snail. So they haven't recorded it yet, so we're getting there, but it's still in production. So yeah, super excited.
Oh my goodness, that's so cool.
I want to know, when you were auditioning for this part, did you have to do like the dance move, like the worm, because you're a snail, right? A sea snail. So did you have to like do like the worm or some kind of, like?
While I did not have to do that, I totally would have done it. I mean, if anybody knows me a little bit, like, I have no shame. I would have totally done it. No problem.
Well, our listeners would love to see you do it right now.
It's a podcast. We'll just say she did it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Watch her go. Look at Leslie Robb. Oh, she can do that.
She's amazing. I'm getting it.
And I want to know about this book. You said that you authored a book. What's it called?
Yeah. So I authored
you
a book.
You wrote this book.
Yes, called Buried to Bold. Buried by Weight, Resuscitated by Grace. And I wrote it at a time that I was basically sort of coming out of my depression and my weight loss journey that I was on at the time that, I have since, let's say, removed myself from. And so, so that book is a devotional. It's a devotional, a health guide, and coloring book for women.
Oh wow.
So Grace is not a person that like gave you CPR. Grace is like from God.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely not a person. Yeah. The grace of Jesus. Our loving Jesus. So yeah.
And a coloring book. Did you draw all the pictures yourself?
So I drew like different quotes. So the whole book is to like be therapeutic for women who were dealing with things like I was dealing with. So the health guide part kind of touches on different things that I was doing to keep myself healthy. And then the coloring book part was to help with mental clarity. So I did a lot of hand lettered, like colorable quotes that I wanted women to read and embrace, but at the same time color them.
Oh, okay.
So it's like
that's kind of that sounds really neat and really creative and amazing. I'm glad that you've made that journey. I know if I created a coloring book that had to do with weight loss, I'd be like, and this is a fork. And this is a knife.
Right.
And here's a spoon. And here's a bowl of ice cream. And then here's your serving of ice cream. And it would just be an empty container. And it would just be, be sad. It'd be sad.
No, I totally get that. I totally get that. And that's like part of the reason it was on Amazon. I did remove it because like a lot of it isn't things that I still do health guide wise. I mean, but they still work obviously for people who may be, needing that push. But yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. I love the coloring aspect. Like, my mom, she spends a lot of time in the hospital and coloring books, crossword puzzles, things like that, where she can, just sit and for me, it's the same thing. I like to color with the nieces and nephews and, when the little ones are around, like I could just sit and color all day long. You just check out for a little bit. You get to just kind of just focus on the the colors and not everything else in the world, right? So
that's so cool. Coloring is therapeutic.
Yeah, that's cool that was an element of that. Well, Leslie, so our podcast is called Laugh Support. And we know that you're a Christian comedian. Yes, I have to. Our last guest we interviewed pointed out that he said, I thought you were saying life support because I say laugh support.
CPR with grace. Just saying. No.
Yes. So life support is, kind of, we just talked to people a little bit about when they started comedy or sometime throughout your comedic career. If there's been somebody, and we know you can't name everyone, right? But maybe someone that stands out in your mind that you went, yeah, this person has always supported me, or this was the first person who let me do a show, or, whatever, just somebody who it comes to mind to you. Who do you think of when you think about laugh support?
Well, for me, honestly, like you said, there are tons of people, but the main person would be Sally Baki, aka Funny Gal Sal. That's my lady. She is definitely my laugh support and consistent laugh support. She was honestly, it's kind of like one of those, as Marlo says, God sprinkles, where Sally called me because I was placed on her heart. I didn't know this woman from Adam, like legit had no idea this lady. She called me one day and said that God had led her to call me to talk to me about my comedy career, that I had just recently, finally just was like, I'm going to do it, Lord. I heard you. And I kept putting it off. But finally I got to the point where I was like, you know what? Okay, I'm going to do this. But I had my way of doing it. And then I was confusing what I was doing with what everybody else was telling me I was supposed to do it and how it's supposed to go, the structure of it, the two and then the punchline and make sure you remember this part. To the point where I was like, God, but that's not how So I remember, we'll never forget when Sally called me and was confirming what I had been praying about, had no idea where this woman came from, but God put us together. So so she's been my laugh support ever since.
So how did you meet her?
I didn't. We never met ever. So I don't know how she got my information. I don't know. I can't remember if she happened to see it somewhere, or you know what? I know what it was. It was a post in the CCA Facebook group that I had commented on or asked about a question. And then she said, literally, it was like God just spoke to her and said, like, you need to call this lady and help her, help this girl. And sure enough, that's what she did. And she's been doing it ever since. I'm telling you, I had been praying because I didn't understand how to shift it to be what everybody was telling me, what comedy looks like. And she helped me to understand, hey, do what God says, forget about the rest. And so again, was amazing, life-changing.
Wow. Yeah, that's awesome. Because one thing about going to conferences and taking classes and things like that, it's helpful. Knowledge is power. But then also sometimes it can cripple us because we think, oh, well, I've been told you got to do this, and this. Well, comedy is an art form, and it comes in all kinds of different art forms. I remember the first time I went to the CCA, I was struck by the fact that the people I was seeing, there were speakers and there were people who did improv, and there were people who had puppets, and, and there were people who geared their stuff towards women, and then some who were all audiences, some that was straight up stand up, and I thought, oh, wow, it doesn't just come in one style, or form. And I think a lot of times, people who are telling you, oh, well, this is how you do it, or the rules of three, or, whatever, they have the best intentions in mind, but also I think it can hold you back from just being free to be yourself. I find that in myself, because I'm more of a storyteller. Yeah. And I'll tell Michelle all the time, man, I can't wait until I'm just relaxed enough to be able to just go up there and be 100% authentically me and not feel like I got to follow a script and just go, just go for it. And what a blessing to have somebody just come into your life. And that's the best moment. Also, the fact that she was obedient. Yeah. When she felt, because she didn't know you said.
No, not at all. I had never even talked to her. I was just like, hello. What? Yeah.
That's an awesome
Especially
story.
when you're praying about something and somebody calls you, you're like, God? Right. Is this legit? Especially when it's on the phone, you can't see him. All you hear is a voice. So you're like, is this an angel?
Yeah.
It was really great.
Well, she does have a tiara, so it's very
Yeah,
possible
she
that Sally
does.
Balke is an angel.
We should mention, that's royalty for sure. She has the
Yeah,
wave and the tiara. So
she
that's
does.
awesome. Well, Leslie, I think the first time that I met you was at a Christian Comedy Association at a conference.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so cool. It was in Texas, and they had these open mics, and you could go to different rooms and stuff. And I didn't get to see everybody because you're kind of in one room doing your thing and whatever. But I remember getting to see you at the coffee house.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow, I didn't know you were there.
Yeah, you did some material about your being a teacher, and it had that sarcastic kind of edgy, and I do material about teaching. And I make a joke about my kids and tasing my children. And then I kind of transition into, I'm just kidding, I don't have a taser anymore. And then the audience kind of laughs at that. And then I say, even though it will probably come in handy where I work at an elementary school. And awesome. Half the audience is silent. But if there is a teacher in the room, it gets a laugh every time.
It's awesome.
I remember listening to you do your stuff, and I'm like, oh, I get this girl. I like you. It was just so funny. But immediately I noticed just the spirit about you and how much fun you are. And it stinks that the world shut down the way that it did. But if anything, we were able to really see the supportive side of you. As people started getting on these platforms and doing shows and things like that, I noticed not only like you would be on someone's show if they ask. I mean, obviously you're here on our podcast, right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
But also a lot of these lives, it's interactive. People are, whenever you comment or you chime in or whatever, it just shows that one, there's an audience there, and two, that you care about the person who's going to the effort to put these shows on. And I've noticed that about you. And I think that's pretty awesome. Michele VanDusen, she's the same kind of cat right there.
Yeah,
Michele, I think, how does she know when everybody is on everything? Tell us, Michele, do you have settings on your Facebooks and social medias that just go off all day long? Because you guys, I mean, both of you all are so supportive to other people in this, in this industry.
No, I've actually on my social media, I've actually muted June Colson.
Well,
but for some reason or another, she's just a bully and she just keeps popping back up. Like, I'm going live now. No, teasing. Yeah, you can put that there. No, I'm really supportive, or it seems like I am, because I have nothing else to do. I'm just saying. No, Leslie, I have a question. Because it's a podcast. So when you come up with your creative ideas, when and how did you get the Leslie Says What? Because I noticed now you have, you also have music, you have a theme song, right?
Yeah.
So how did you come up with the idea? When did you come up with it? And how has it grown from the beginning thought process to what it is now, being on Roku? Okay.
Yeah. So Leslie Said What is a talk show. I've always wanted to do a talk show, even growing up. I wanted to always have a talk show because I think it's so much fun to just, while I do get to talk with people and interact with people, but also to sew into people so they have the opportunity to present themselves and to be on a platform and just to talk and get out the things. So the original purpose of Leslie Said What was to be a platform for people to talk about those things that sometimes are taboo topics or taboo subjects that aren't discussed, that need to be discussed. That I have noticed, literally, I've been shifted a little bit. Thanks to some of my friends at Creative Motion Network, I've been shifted lately, especially this month, to more of an interview process of interviewing some of the hosts and different things like that of different shows, but also actors, actresses, stage and crew, directors, or whatever. But so I am random, to put it lightly. So saying Leslie Said What? Because you never know how my shows are going to go, what I'm going to talk about, what I'm going to do. So that helps to that name was actually created by one of my friends because I had put out there, does anybody have an idea of what I should call my show? Because I want to start a talk show.
Yeah.
And a friend from high school who I hadn't talked to probably since high school, 20 plus years ago, sent me a message and was like, hey, I think you should call it Leslie Said What? And it just struck me. And I'm like, yes, that's it. Because it's, again, things that people don't talk about. And they're like, wait, she said what? Like, yeah, I said it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And as far as the theme song that came up that you're mentioning, the rap was actually created by a gentleman who has worked with Jay-Z, Rihanna, blah, 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 like all these like name drops. He literally worked with them and was their intern. And I was like, I want a rap song. So, because I wanted an intro for my live shows. So I was like, okay, what could I do? And then finally, when I met him, I was like, yes, I want this. So he created it for me, and it just got produced last month, and then I just got it a couple weeks ago. So yeah. So I'm super excited. Now that is for my live shows. And on my live shows, I have like a night of music, fun, comedy. So it's not me talking the whole time or me trying to make people laugh the whole time. It's a mix of just a night out of good, clean Christian entertainment. So yeah.
That's very cool. Yeah, because your live show, you also have like a band too, don't you?
Yeah, I have
like
a band.
You're the whole package. You've got everything.
And that's why, like, because I often will go to a comedy show, and it's just like comic to comic to comic, and I have issues with attention. Like, I can't.
What?
Like, I can only deal with so much of somebody talking to me, even if it's hilarious. And it may not even be that they're not talented. It's just I can't sit there that long without something. So that's how I designed my night of comedy, music, and fun, is I shifted it to be something that I would be able to deal with. Like, okay, yeah, we got a little bit of comedy, we got some music, we got some, fun games and different things, and mix it up. So it's a true night of fun. It is awesome. So yeah.
I think that's awesome. A lot of times people say if you're trying to create a product, which basically, I mean, when you are going to these venues and doing that, you're delivering a product, to try and create something that you wished you had, you know?
Exactly.
And the first events that I went to, or that I did, I had written a song, and my niece is a musician. Well, she's pretty magical too. Brooklyn is, I mean, she just disappears at the end of the show. But she would come with me, and at the end she would bring out her acoustic guitar, and she would play this song, that kind of wrapped the whole thing up. So when I saw that you had that element to it, I thought that was really awesome. And, part of our podcast, we talk about not only who was supportive to you as Laugh Support, but we also talk about, have you had the opportunity to support someone else? And you can mention someone else, obviously, if you want to. But when I saw that, and I saw the musicians going in with you, I thought, how cool is that? Something that you're doing, you're now, incorporating someone else who is talented. And obviously that's kind of a laugh support for them, as well as, you guys are supporting each other in this, events and things that you're doing. So, aside from that, is there anybody else that God has said, okay, Leslie, Sally poured into you. Now I want you to lift this person up. Have you had that opportunity yet?
Not officially in any type of capacity. Honestly, as far as that goes, I remember one gentleman found me on Instagram. He was looking to get into Christian comedy, and he didn't know it was actually a thing. And then he saw something I had posted when I was at the CCA conference, and he sent me a message asking me, how do I get involved? And I remember sending him a message and just encouraging him, like, this is where I started. Like, these people are awesome. Here's what you need to do. But outside of that, not much. I feel like my laugh support and ability to help other people support wise comes in the form of like what I'm doing with the night of comedy, like being able to comedy, music, and fun. Like people like the worship leader who opens us up each night that we do this. She's always wanted to be a worship leader, but just could not find an avenue or a path to do that. And I was like, oh, I got you. And then the band, who has been, I guess you could say labeled like the starving artist type of thing for years, but has never been able to get out there. I had put out literally just a post to looking for musicians, and then this whole band popped up, and I was like, okay, I got you. And they were saying how, they've always wanted to do more than just be a worship band and get out and do more. And they were praying about it that week, and then saw my post. So it was like, that's where I'm like paying it forward, is in these different aspects of those people who, and if you tell me you have a dream, or if you tell me that it's God's will for you to do something, oh boy, you just messed up, because I will not let you live it down. I'm going to push you until you get there. So, yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is you're kind of pushy. Is that what I'm
very
hearing?
Pushy. Very pushy in a positive way.
Yeah, because you're not mean spirited. You're very joyful. And where did you get that outlook in life to be as joyful as you are? Because one of the things that you said was that Sally came in and just said, "Hey, just ignore that. You do what you need to do to operate in the gift that God's given you." And how did you go from trying to be put in a box to nope, the box doesn't even exist? To me, you're like the bow, the gift wrap. You're like all of it. You're like a party in a box, basically.
Yeah,
but the box has
That's
exploded.
What I always say.
Yeah,
really,
you're like confetti,
yes!
like boom. Yeah. So where did you get your joyful outlook?
From a lifetime of trauma, depression, anxiety, and hurt. That's literally where this birthed from. I literally was as low, if you would have talked to me maybe 2 years, no, maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't even put it as far out as 3, but maybe 2 years ago had talked to me, I was at a very low point where all I wanted to do was die. So literally I had gotten to the point where I was done. I wasn't willing to kill myself because I feel like that's a sin. I don't know. So I was like, Lord, just take me out. So I was at a really low point, and then literally, I don't want to say that like, okay, all of a sudden things changed. No, it was more of I changed my mindset. I changed the situation. Nothing has changed otherwise. If anything, things are much worse financially for us, and the way things are. But I had to change me, and I had to realize that, look, as much as I wanted to die, God wasn't ready for me to die. So there's a purpose. And if I'm still willing to be the person who says, Lord, let your will be done, and not just say it, but live it, I had to literally open myself up to whatever it is that God wanted me to do, to pump the brakes on who I said I was going to be and be who he called me to be. And once I've done that and understand the true purpose behind why God has me here, and that to realize all of this stuff that drove me to severe depression and to a point of death, of wanting to die, is temporary. Like, bruh, like, what are you, chill? Like, you have a set future. What is the worst that can happen to you, Leslie? You could die. And okay, thank you, Jesus. I'm ready to go home. So it's like, live your life, invest in other people. I got outside of me and focusing on what I wanted to be, and started focusing on everybody else. Like, I have a fixed future because, like I said, I have God to look forward to. But there's so many people who don't have that opportunity. And so, again, I may be the only joy they get. So I want to leave people better than the way they were when they came to me. So that has been my goal. And that's what I have no tolerance for anything else. Because I know what it's like to get to that point where, okay, yeah, I'm smiling, but am I really happy? No, legit now, this smile is backed by pure joy. And I just want to push it and give it to other people. So, yeah.
That's awesome. I heard somebody the other day, I think it was on America's Got Talent, and it was a performer, and I think it's gone viral, but this girl at the end, she was singing, but she had cancer. And at the very end, she made the comment, she said, I made the decision, I'm not going to wait until things are good to be happy, until things aren't hard to be happy. I'm going to be happy now. And I thought that was so powerful. I shared some stuff about my dad just recently, and it was just hit after hit after hit after hit. And, and his comment was, well, all is right in the world. And if he had waited for things to be right in the world to be happy, he would never be happy. I think that's an amazing outlook and mind shift, to go that direction. And you're definitely bringing joy to people's lives. I love your program. And it's always so much fun. I can't think of who the actress's name is, but she was on Church People. And
Adriana.
And I could tell like she was having so much fun talking to you. And she was talking about waiting on oh gosh, in the restaurant. She was talking about famous people that she had waited on in the restaurant. And I can't think of the guy's name, but he's the one who did There's Something About Mary.
Yeah, Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller, and she was talking about Ben Stiller, but you could tell like, and she, I'm sure she's done a ton of interviews because she's an actress and she's been in, several productions. And that was that was a good movie that she was in. But you could tell like she was just relaxed. I remember thinking like, I can see that this girl or this woman, it's just girl talk. It literally like you were able to, set her at ease in the conversation, and the Christopher Sean Shaw, I love that he was giving the idea about you've got to have people say, Leslie say what? Leslie said what? So that you can have those clips of people, saying it or whatever. But you can tell that the people that you're interviewing, they're having a blast. I had a wonderful time, and I was kind of early on in your program.
Yeah.
And we were talking about a serious, kind of subject, but it was still a joy. I still felt like, I just had a great time hanging out and talking to you. Man, I wish we had 400 hours, don't you, Michele?
Yes, definitely, because 400 hours with Leslie, my life would be changed. 4 hours with Leslie, my life would be changed. 10 minutes with Leslie, my life has changed. I'm sorry, wait. 31 minutes, my life has been changed.
41 seconds with me, and Michele wants to change the channel.
Anyway, no, Leslie, I love that you have the outlook of joy, and I love the fact that you said that you changed your mindset, and basically something that June and I have talked about before. I don't know if it's been on this podcast yet, but I know that we've talked about you see what you're looking for, so look for what you want to see. And it's this, you did that shift. You started looking at life differently. You said, I love that you said, my circumstances are the same, but I'm not. And I love that. I love that you're not, and that you're able to share, and you're focused outward versus inward. Because I tell you what, anybody that meets you, their lives are changed, and that they've been touched completely by joy and happiness, because that's what you bring. You bring all the time, and I love that now you have a crew of people. You have your own little crew, Leslie and the crew. Because you got this show now. How can people find you? How can people book you for your live shows? How do they do that?
Well, everything is at leslierob.com. It's so simple. And I made that so easy for people to be able to find me, because at first I was trying to get all lavish with my domain. And I was like, no, look, let's put everything in one spot. And it makes it so much easier for everyone. So once they go to leslierob.com and they get to the home screen itself has all of my social media at the bottom. But then there's also links there to click into the website if you want the full experience. But there's also, if you're like, look, I don't want to bypass all that and go straight to booking, the best part about my intro page is it has everything that's the main purpose that people come on there. They could just click right on. So It's super simple.
Excellent. Yay. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for spending some time this morning with us. Thank you for putting us in your schedule.
Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I was just doing this to be like clapping you guys on, and then you guys message me, and I'm like, sure.
Let's go. Let's do it. Awesome. Yay. Well, Leslie, thanks for being with us. Michelle's going to pop you backstage for a minute, but don't disappear. We'd like to talk to you before you go. Okay.
Okay. No worries. Awesome. Bye, guys.
All right. Oh my gosh, y'all. That was Leslie Robb. And when you go to her website, it's Leslie. She's a Leslie with the IE. So make sure LESLIE Rob.com. Michele, what a great interview, huh?
Yes. And, I love the fact that we have been, our podcast has been supported by the Hot Breath Comedy Network, because if we weren't, we would never have had this opportunity to have had this podcast and to interview Leslie. So, I love that. I love that we can do this. I love that, we're in 2 different states and we're able to interview someone in Washington. I mean, how I love this. I love this whole process.
Crazy. That's crazy. I don't know how she got in the White House, but she's pretty amazing. She just snuck her way right in there.
Well, I'm having it now. Come on, people.
Yes. Leslie Robin, the band coming in. Scoot over, Joe. I got a song to sing. Well, hey, y'all, listen, make sure you check us out on social media. It's Laugh Support on Facebook and Instagram and
YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. That's right. You can watch us on YouTube to see, how fantastic funny we are.
And you can, even if you want to start emailing us, you can, especially if you want to have like show ideas or you want to comment something nice. We're only taking nice compliments. The bad ones I'll just send to Leslie and I'll have her get after you.
That's right. Don't make a sick Leslie Rob on you. I don't know. I might have some fun with some mean ones. We could do something with that.
Yeah, you probably would.
I probably would.
I want to say thanks for listening.
Yeah, absolutely. And that has been, I am June Colson. And remember, Jesus and Junebug loves you. Oh, man, Michele, you tell him something now.
Thanks for listening. Have a great day.
And that's been another episode of the Laugh Support podcast.